Tennessee debuts at number 17 in the initial college football playoff rankings. Is that too high, too low, or just about right? Had a couple of days to stew on it now. Let's talk about this initial rankings, and could Tennessee move up as the season goes on? That and a whole lot more, your Thursday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Vols, your team every single day. Appreciate you for being here. Shout out, as always, everydayers. I'm your host, Eric Cain. This episode is brought to you in part by Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use the promo code LockedOnCollege for a free first deposit match up to $100. Daily fantasy sports made easy. That's at PrizePicks.com. Got a fun show coming up here today with not an SEC opponent this weekend. We'll go ahead and talk with Boogie Bentley in segments 2 and 3. But first, I do want to get into reacting to Tennessee making the college football playoffs college football playoff rankings, the top 25 at number 17 earlier in the week. I went ahead and recorded Wednesday's show before these rankings came out because, guys, I knew Tennessee wasn't going to be in the top 4. I knew Tennessee wasn't going to be in the top 15. Just kind of how the season's gone on. It's much different from last year when Tennessee debuted at number 1 in the college football playoff rankings, coming off starting 8-0 on the season. So it's not as breaking news-ish as it was last year, but still, Tennessee's debuting in the college football playoff rankings. That's something to be excited about if you are a Tennessee fan. I have not turned my on-air light on. There we go. We are on-air and operational now if you're watching on YouTube. So Tennessee debuts at number 17 in the college football playoff rankings, and it's one of 6 SEC teams to be in the initial top 25 for the college football playoff rankings. Number 2, Georgia. Number 8, Alabama. Number 10, Ole Miss. Number 12, Missouri. And number 14, LSU. That top 4, of course, for the time being, there's 4 teams that make the college football playoff rankings. That will soon shift to 12, of course. Ohio State's at number 1, Georgia's at number 2, Michigan is at number 3, and Florida State is at number 4. Those first 2 out is Washington at number 5, and then Oregon at number 6. Of course, all those teams are 8-0 on the season, with the exception of Oregon, who is 7-1. Again, 6 teams from the Southeastern Conference have made the initial college football playoff top 25 rankings. Tennessee is the last team in those rankings. Let's see here. Yeah, Tennessee comes in at number 17. It's behind, of course, LSU at 14, Missouri at 12, Ole Miss at 10, Alabama at number 8, and Georgia at number 2. Tennessee's at 6-2 record, kind of in a logjam there towards the back end of those rankings. You've got Tennessee as the second 6-2, or the third team with a 6-2 record in these rankings. LSU would be the first 2-loss team, or the highest ranked 2-loss team there at number 14. Notre Dame, actually, so Tennessee's 4th. Notre Dame is at 15 at 7-2. Oregon State's 16 at 6-2, and then there's Tennessee 6-2 at number 17. Utah's behind Tennessee, UCLA, USC, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Tulane, and Air Force. Little interesting, I guess. Penn State's at number 11. I thought Penn State might be ahead of Ole Miss, but Ole Miss is at 7-1 on the season. Probably owns that strength of schedule battle and that strength of record battle. We'll look over the football power index here in just a moment. I have no issue with Texas being ahead of Alabama because Texas beat Alabama earlier this season, but both those teams with identical 7-1 records. Of course, Alabama has a loss on the season, and that is to Texas. In this matchup, or in this season so far. You look at Tennessee and kind of what it needs to do to move up. Of course, it's a huge month of November. We know how big this month of November is. You got UConn matchup here for homecoming is what it is. You should be 7-2 going on the road to take on Missouri, who again is a team that is ahead of you in the rankings at number 12. You win at Missouri, you're 8-2 coming back home for the monster showdown against Georgia, who is at number 2 in the rankings. You win that game, you're sitting at 9-2. You got Vanderbilt, you're 10-2 finishing the season. Sure, a lot of that's wishful thinking. I recognize that. And we've talked about if you want to get to 9 wins, kind of going into the Kentucky game, if you want to get to 9 wins on the season, you need to secure 2 of the 3, that being Kentucky on the road, Missouri on the road, and Georgia at home. That's taking into account that Vanderbilt at home to end the season and UConn this weekend are going to be wins. very attainable. If Tennessee were to go 1-2 in that stretch, obviously already got the win against Kentucky, you're still finishing with an 8-4 season. Not horrible. I think it'd be a little disappointing. 7-5 would be super disappointing, but that's in all likelihood, unless disaster just strikes, that's off the table. Tennessee is bowl eligible for one of the few times in recent memory entering the month of November. Of course, the stat I've been throwing out since Saturday night, Tennessee has 6 wins entering the month of November. Just the second time since 2007, or the second time since Philip Fulmer was head coach at Tennessee. So I guess bowl eligible, that kind of goes hand in hand, that 6-win plateau. There you go, Eric. See, I'm working through that right now. So it's been a good season overall, but if Tennessee wants to get to 9-3, which was my season prediction back in the summer, you need to win at Missouri, or you need to win at home against Georgia. You win both, you're likely getting 10 wins. So there's a lot of opportunity for Tennessee to move up in these rankings. And sure, going to Atlanta representing the SEC East is still not off the table right now. You need Georgia to lose you need Georgia, of course, to lose to Tennessee, and you need some other things to fall in your favor. It's a very uphill climb, but it's not, completely out of the way, if you will. LSU, again, it's one of those teams with 2 losses, the highest ranked 2-loss team in the college football playoff rankings. Its losses on the season, of course, the season opening loss, kind of a fourth quarter runaway against Florida State in Orlando. And Florida State, as we know, is number 4 in these rankings? Let's see here. Yeah, Florida State is number 4 in these rankings. So LSU has 1 loss to Florida State, and then the other loss is to Ole Miss by 6 points, who, again, is at number 9 in these rankings, I believe, or number 10 in these rankings, and is ahead of LSU. So a lot of chances for movement. I do want to look at kind of what Tennessee's resume looks like. We spent a lot of time on Locked On Vols last year going over the resumes, especially when Tennessee had 2 losses, or especially when Tennessee had a loss to Georgia before losing to South Carolina the way it did. Tennessee was very much in the picture, and we were comparing resumes at the time to Tennessee and TCU and to some other teams, but it was primarily Tennessee and TCU, which one of those 1-loss teams was going to make the college football playoff. And Tennessee's resume, by and large, was far more superior to that of TCU at the time. We had some locked on reactions, and I was kind of going toe to toe with some guys and across the network and kind of putting up a fight for Tennessee. Of course, Tennessee loses the way it does to South Carolina, and it was kind of a moot point. But nonetheless, I do want to kind of look at these resumes. The FBI over at ESPN, the Football Power Index, has Tennessee as the number 15 team in the country with a 6-2 record. Chances of winning out, which would mean winning on the road at Missouri and, of course, at home against Georgia, only 13.3% chance. You're telling me there's a chance, but 13.3% chance, says the Football Power Index, give Tennessee to winning out, which, again, the 2 big ones left, on the road at Missouri and at home against Georgia. 6 wins, 100% already, obviously. Tennessee's already got 6 wins. Winning the division, Tennessee has only an 8.1% chance. Winning the conference, Tennessee only has a 2.6% chance. Tennessee is given a 0.3% chance of making the 14 playoff, a 0.1% chance of making the national championship, and the Football Power Index doesn't even give Tennessee a chance at all, literally. So you're telling me there's a chance? No, I'm not. A 0.0% chance, according to the Football Power Index, to win the national championship. Again, lofty goals here. Technically still on the table, but very, very lofty things would have to happen. Let's continue to look at these resumes and see where Tennessee stacks up over on the Football Power Index. Tennessee has the 21st highest strength of record, according to the Football Power Index. Strength of record reflects the chance that an average top 25 team would have a team's record or better given the schedule. So that's kind of how that is defined via the Football Power Index. I already gave the Football Power Index ranking for Tennessee. Tennessee is at 15. Let's see here. This is the current AP poll in college football playoff ranking. Tennessee, of course, is at 17 in the college football playoff ranking, 19 in the AP poll. Tennessee's strength of schedule is 26th in the country. 26th in the country. The remaining strength of schedule is 33rd, which I find interesting because, again, Missouri's at number 12 in the college football playoff rankings. Georgia's at number 2. Sure, UConn is way down there. Vanderbilt is way down there. So maybe math. I've never been great at math. 33 still seems a little too low, in my opinion, just because of the top heaviness of Georgia, and then right now that of Missouri. Sound like I'm from Jeff County there. Oh, yeah, I am. Nothing wrong with that, baby. That's home. Love it. Love my Jeff Countyans, my Patriots. we're going to find out a lot about Missouri this weekend because Missouri takes on Georgia. Can Georgia beat Missouri twice? That's the hope, right? I mean, that's the hope. But then again, in a perfect world, you want Missouri to beat Georgia, and then you beat Missouri if you're Tennessee. Again, lofty expectations, but we'll see. Let's see here. Game control rank, which reflects a chance that an average top 25 team would control games from start to end the way this team did given the schedule. Okay, I've never really heard of that. Tennessee's game control rank is number 17. I would imagine that Alabama game comes back to hurt Tennessee because of the way Tennessee was controlling the game in the first half, and then the way Tennessee just didn't show up in the second half. And then the last metric I'm going to read is the team's average in-game win probability rank adjusted for a chance that an average FBS team would control games from start to end the way this team did given the schedule. Okay, I don't really know what that means, but game control rank essentially, or the in-game probability ranked. Tennessee is ranked number 26 in the country. So essentially the ones you need to pay attention to, Tennessee's strength of schedule right now is at 26. Tennessee's remaining strength of schedule is at 33. Tennessee's at number 15 in the Football Power Index. Tennessee's strength of record, according to the Football Power Index, is at number 21. Tennessee debuts at number 17 in the college football playoff rankings. And so you need to just keep winning. You need to win at Missouri in 2 weeks from now, and you need to win at Georgia at home, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, it's a nice little accomplishment for Tennessee. Tennessee is now, let's see here. Tennessee's been ranked in 7 straight college football playoff rankings dating back to last year. Tennessee finished at number 6 overall last year in the college football playoff rankings and went on to win a New Year's Six bowl game. So a lot of football left to play. Tennessee in the college football playoff rankings, but if you want to move up, which you can, you got to just keep winning, baby. That and a whole lot more with Boogie Bentley. That is coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. Do want to tell you about our friends at Prize Picks, proud sponsor of the show. That is Prize Picks. It's largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than your 2 to 6 player projections and watch the winnings roll in. I've had so much fun winning 25 times my money back this football season, and now you can as well. With the basketball season here as well, we're talking football, with the basketball season here as well, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specialist League. From the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from the different sports or leagues. For an example, if you want to go the NBA route, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. A whole lot of fun over there at PrizePicks.com. Want to play alongside some Prize Picks favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. So I encourage you to go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use the promo code LockedOnCollege for a free deposit match up to $100. You put in 50, they're going to match you 50. You put in 100, they'll match you up to 100 if you use that promo code LockedOnCollege. It's PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. No SEC football game this weekend, so Boogie gets the call up from Friday back to Thursday. So that's good news for him. Just a day earlier on the platform. It's kind of I mean, don't get me wrong, you only get 12 Saturdays guaranteed a year, so it's going to be fun to watch Tennessee play football and all that type of stuff, but just not a lot of juice, not a whole lot of momentum going into this game, and you really just, I mean, I've talked more Missouri this week than I've talked UConn easily.
Yeah, it's a glorified scrimmage. Let's call it what it is. Let's make everybody on the internet mad. I've been getting yelled at all week. It is a glorified scrimmage.
Listen, anybody get mad at Boogie, get mad at me. I mean, like, just because Tennessee played like crap against Austin Peay doesn't take away that it was a glorified scrimmage. It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on it again this week. It's the same type of football game. What's Tennessee favored by, 35, something like that at this point? I mean, it's crazy. Like, you look at the numbers, the stats, the competition level, it's a glorified scrimmage. I'm hoping we see some young guys. I'm hoping we see a whole lot of Nico in the second half. Look, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I know it's homecoming. It's Connecticut. You talk about me being the busiest man, always working, never take a day off. I'm taking Saturday off, man. Like, I've been so focused on building my channel that I can never miss a postgame show, never miss a postgame show. Never. You gotta work, but you gotta work, and try to build up this platform until my daughter made a comment about going to a game, and I was like, man, 20 years from now, am I going to look back at that channel and be like, man, I sure am glad I did that Connecticut postgame show? Yeah. Or should I take the Saturday off and take my daughter down to her first game? So that's what we're going to do on Saturday. No postgame show. And so it's going to be special to me because it's going to be her first time. My oldest daughter never had any interest, never had any desire. My youngest daughter, she's been to see App State play. She enjoyed that. She's a cheerleader, so she wants to see, what the cheerleaders look like, see the ball walk, all that fun stuff. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be one of those dad moments on Saturday.
Dude, that's awesome, man. When was the last time you yourself have been to a game?
2016 Florida game.
Wow.
End of the streak.
Good one to go out on.
End of the streak. One of my co-hosts, that was back before we did live streams, and one of my co-hosts yelled at me, and he's like, hey, man, I got box seats. You want to go? And I was like, man, it's last minute. It's Florida. I've had my heart broken so many times. Sure, let's go. And then what a ride, man. What a fun game. But that's the last time I've been in Neyland Stadium. Been a long time.
Well, things are different. Things are very different, and there's construction going on all over the place. I mean, is that the last time you've been to campus?
No, I've been down around campus, but, yeah, the last time I went down was over the summer for my daughter had a cheer competition, cheer camp at Tennessee. So okay. I've been down there, just haven't been in Neyland Stadium.
Well, cool, man. So tell me about the experience. What are you going to do to try to give her the entire experience? I would imagine you're going to go down a little early, maybe lurch around some tailgates, see the ball walk, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like so weird because me, back when I went, had season tickets when Fulmer was the coach. It was, you got to go see the ball walk once. Once you've seen it, it's kind of like, okay, I've seen it 1,000 times. It's more about tailgating, who you're there with, the experience, and then you get to the stadium just in time to see them form the tee. So I'm like having to rewind time and be like, all right, what's important? How do we get the most bang for our buck? Obviously, I wanted to see the ball walk, probably see the band come in. I was asking some guys on the chat last night on my stream, do you think the Vol Navy will be out in force for homecoming?
Yeah.
You think it'll be out? Because that's something I would want her to see. And then just make sure you get in the stadium. I was listening to you guys on the VolQuest podcast talking about the Tennessee walking horse. I guess it was AP and Brent talking about it. And they're like, is it overrated, underrated? Man, I want to get in there early and see the Tennessee walking horse. Why not? See all the traditions. See all the fun stuff on Saturday, man. I'm just excited to see her light up. And I've already seen it. I already got the experience. When I said, hey, we got to go get you a new outfit. Why? Because we're going to Neyland Stadium. The look on her face was like, Dad doesn't miss a postgame show. What's going on here? So I've already got what I needed out of this thing, but I'm looking forward to it, man.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm happy for it. I'm happy for you, for your daughter. That'll be exciting. Good for you on taking an afternoon off, a postgame show off. Because you're right. I mean, I do that same thing. Like I'm work, and I'm going to these fall scrimmages right now, like in baseball. Season's not even here. It's football season, and I got to sit here and say, okay, should I go spend 3 hours over there, or should I hang out with my wife? I should probably hang out with my wife, or I might not have one.
You may not have that problem if you keep doing it.
Yeah, so good for you. All right, what do you want to see out of Tennessee this weekend? Again, this is a game where Tennessee should get in, get out, stay healthy, yada, yada. It's all easier said than done, as we saw with Austin Peay. What do you want to see from Tennessee on Saturday?
Well, I mean, when we start the football game, you got the starters out there. You're going to see a whole lot of run game. I don't think it's about what I want to see. I think it's what we are going to see. Obviously, Tennessee's been good running the football. Connecticut, really bad stopping the run. 167 yards a game. I think they're like 96, 95th. I can't remember the exact number. It's really bad in the country stopping the run. They gave up 209 to NC State, 250 to Georgia State, 260 to USF, 246 to Boston College. And that, again, look at the difference in competition there. It's not like they're playing Alabama and SEC caliber teams. I think you're going to see a whole lot of run, but then I want to see some young guys, man. We've had so many opportunities, right? And that's why everybody gets so mad at me for calling this a glorified scrimmage. Oh, that's what you said about Austin Peay. We saw how that worked out. Tennessee has not had enough opportunities to get the young guys in the game. And obviously we all want to see Nico. That's the one. I want to see Nico, and I want to see him run this offense. I don't want to see him come in and hand the football off. I want to come in, play the game, run the full offense, and see what Nico can do. Let's stir up a hornet's nest, and if Joe Milton goes out and plays bad against Missouri, it's going to be a complete mess on the internet. But I just want to see Nico. But then again, Cam Selden, Nathan Laycock, can we see him? A whole bunch of Ethan Davis. I just want anybody that's young and talented on this football team, offensive line, defensive line, secondary, those young corners. That's what I want to see. Just domination and then a bunch of young guys.
You know, we talked a little bit about it over on VolQuest this week, but I think it's important that, take Nico for example. I would love to see Nico in there behind the starting offensive line. Why? Because, number one, I don't want to see Nico get killed. I don't want to see his face mask turn around to the side of his head again, which was ridiculous, whatever UTSA, whatever game that was. But I want to see what Nico can do with some skill guys around him in these preseason scrimmages and in practices that we went to. He was throwing to guys that he will never throw to in a football game ever. And like I look at what Brian John Marie does at linebacker, where he throws in T-Lander, he'll throw in Carter, he'll throw in these guys in with Beasley, with Peely in the Virginia game, but of course Beasley now. And then, a little bit at times, they need to do it more, but a little bit you'll throw in Ricky Gibson in the secondary and David Hobbs on the the defensive line. I was sitting there watching the rewatch, and I text Hobbs, and I'm like, dude, Amari Thomas is literally telling David Hobbs what to do every single snap, which is fine. That's good because you have a veteran. What can you look like with guys who are good, essentially? And so that's my hope. You get in there, you score a couple of touchdowns, you start intertwining something like put Addison Nichols in there left guard with the ones, put Nico in there for a little bit, I'd love to see Cam Seldon run behind some of the better offensive linemen and not some of the scrubs, behind him. So like that's kind of what I want to see. Of course, in order to do that though, got to handle business.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. What's the number? What's the magic number for Josh Heupel to feel comfortable handing over the keys and doing some different things like that? Because if you're talking about still leaving some of those ones, is that number 28? Is it 35? What is it? And would Josh Heupel even do that? We're talking about our hopes and dreams, what we would like to see. What does Josh Heupel want to see? Does he just want to get everybody off the field, keep the ones healthy, and let Nico go play behind a patchwork offensive line? I don't know what the magic number is to get what you guys want, or if we'll even see that or have an opportunity to see that.
Well, I can promise you this. The starters will come out and play the first half. They will play the first series of the second half because that's what Josh Heupel does. That's what a lot of football coaches do. I mean, when I played, that's what my coaches did. I understand it, but I still go back to the UTSA game, and people were like, well, it became a ball game in the third quarter. Sure, it did, but coming out of halftime, Tennessee was leading 31-0, and your starting quarterback just tweaked his knee. And then I see him running out there to start the second half. I'm like, what are we doing here? Yep. I thought that was just idiotic in my opinion. But again, I'm not getting paid millions of dollars, and they know more than me. Hey, more on this football game, what we want to see. Tennessee debuts in the college football playoff rankings. That and a whole lot more coming up as we continue on with Boogie Bentley here on Locked On Vols. I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel, it's America's #1 sports book, proud sponsor of the NFL as well. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, seriously, there's no better time right now. You got the NFL, you got college football, NBA is happening right now, college basketball right around the corner. Tennessee plays college basketball next week, so there's plenty of options to choose from. You can take the spreads, you can take the totals, overs. Nobody likes to play unders, but they're there if you want to. And what I've talked about many, many times, individual player props. If you're new to FanDuel, new to this whole realm, individual player props are fun and engaging and something to where you can put some coin in your pocket. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today to kick off the NFL season, the NBA season, college basketball season, and of course, the ongoing college football season. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, Boogie, you asked me what is that number in segment number 2 to where you can start seeing guys come in, some reinforcements, some of these young guys. You've mentioned a lot of players that you want to see. I echo that. What's the number for you? I know you're trying to say it's not what I want, it's what Josh Heupel's going to do, but I'm asking you, what's that number for you? When do you want to see those reinforcements come in?
28, man. Or even get creative. Like, how confident are you, right? How confident are you? Can you trot Joe Milton out there, let him play a couple of series, and then have the balls to go out series 3 and the game's 7-0, 10-0, 10-3, something like that? You got the balls to let Nico go out and run two series? I know it's not, but hey, I'm coach. I'm coach. It's Coach Boogie. Coach Heupel, I don't know where he's at, what he's doing. I'm getting paid $9.99 to come out here and coach the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm going to give Joe Milton 2 series, then I'm going to give Nico 2 series. I'm going to see what they look like. And if the game's tight and I have more faith and confidence in Joe, then I'll continue to roll with Joe, but give Nico something early. If I'm the coach, 28-0, I'm confident, man. We're playing Connecticut. Like, it is what it is. It ain't coach speak. I'm not talking about, it's a tough football team. Got a really good attack through the air. They play good physical. No, they don't. They're trash. They're garbage. Tennessee's favored by 35 for a reason. So 28's my number. Give me 28. But I'm going to trot Nico out there for 2 series, number 3 and number 4.
You said something interesting earlier. I want to come back. You said, hey, I want to create a whirlwind, all that type of stuff. Nico goes in, lights up. Say Joe struggles in one of these games. What could happen? You have 4 games left in the regular season. And I know you're not trying to start anything right now. I'm just saying you have 4 games left in the regular season. Joe's played his best football the last 2 games. Joe Milton's played at a high level. I mean, it feels like to me, and I would love to see obviously what it looks like against Missouri, because that game, Tennessee's going to have to score because Missouri's going to score. I feel like Joe Milton has kind of unlocked his potential in this offense. Has he been great? No. I mean, has he been Peyton Manning? No, but he's confident. Running Joe, it's been good for this offense. He's been more accurate than he's been ever in his career the last 2 weeks. Joe's playing some good football right now. What do you think about Joe's performances the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I said going back to week one, I said I'm going to grade Joe on a week-by-week basis because he's so inconsistent that to just say Joe as a whole is terrible or Joe as a whole is great, I don't think you can. I think consistency is one of his biggest problems. And, we've kind of talked about it the last couple of weeks. Halftime at Texas A&M, something changed. When he came out in that second half, he started playing physical, and then we start kind of telling jokes, going back and forth, saying maybe he just needs to get slapped in the face and get fired up, get motivated to go out and do something. They said in that Texas A&M game, the DB that he trucked was running his mouth. So Joe trucks him, and now Joe's like, oh man, I forgot I'm huge. I can just run over people. And, man, there are people that are like that. They got to realize they're in a fight. And I think Joe's playing, again, is he playing Heisman Trophy football? No. But is he playing good enough for this football team to go win? Yes, he is. And maybe that's, it's not his ceiling. That's not the best. But if he could give us this little base of consistency that we've seen the last couple of weeks, I think you're going to roll through Connecticut. I think you're going to beat Missouri. And you may have an opportunity to take advantage of Georgia. I'm not saying they beat Georgia, but I think you're set up for 9 wins, which is exactly where we thought we were, and you got an opportunity to win 10. Neyland's going to be hostile and electric if you roll into that thing with a shot at a 10-win season and a possible New Year's Six Bowl. And, I see the stat that everybody's throwing around about this going into November with 6 wins. We not done that two years in a row since Fulmer? Are you kidding me? Like, that tells you where Josh Heupel has got this thing in just 3 years, man. Just 3 years.
I remember I said going into the Florida game last year that Anthony Richardson was an NFL quarterback. And we know fans, passion, all that type of stuff, especially Tennessee fans. I love the dialogue, love the engagement. It's all good. But, I got ripped apart on a thread at BallQuest. What are you talking about, Anthony Richardson, NFL quarterback? He sucks. Da, da, da. And I'm like, he's an NFL quarterback. Helped my case that he went out there and almost single-handedly won the football game against Tennessee. But goes on, and he's the number 4 overall pick in the NFL draft. Look at Will Levis. God, he sucks. He plays for my team. He threw 4 touchdowns in his NFL debut the other day. You see cases like this every single year. So it's almost like for Joe, no matter what he does, he's going to be a respected NFL quarterback in the draft this year. Team's going to take him. Team's going to say, oh, my gosh, I'm salivating over just the intangibles, the tools. I can figure it out with him. And sometimes they figure it out. Sometimes they don't. It is what it is. It's just further proof that, like, Joe Milton's going to be in the NFL. Joe Milton's going to be on a roster. Joe Milton's going to have an opportunity in the National Football League. And he still hasn't completely unlocked all of his potential. But, man, if he ever does, it's going to be dangerous. I
just don't know. Do you see him? Like, I'm with you. He's going to end up in the NFL. Somebody's going to take a shot. It's making me think. You've all seen those relationships. This poor girl in a horrible relationship with a piece of trash. I can fix him. I can fix him. Joe's like 42 years old. But look at his arm. I can fix him.
Every coach is like that. Yes. Every coach at every level. But I can get across to him. But I can teach it. Yeah.
But, again, who are we to say, man? Look, like you said, look at Will Levis. And, yes, it's just one football game. But holy smokes, was everybody on Twitter not eating a little crow. Well, I was wrong about Will Levis. Makes me laugh a little bit more about Kentucky. But I don't know. I don't think Joe goes in the first round. You don't think he goes that early, do you? You think he goes first round?
Right now, no. We know how the NFL draft process works.
Right.
He'll go to pro day, and he will dazzle. He will be just the best looking guy throwing routes on it. He will be great. And then that talk will continue on. And then he'll maybe go play in an all-star game. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But we just know how NFL executives, GMs, head coaches, they just psych themselves out. So to answer your question, right now, no, I don't think he's a first-round pick. He hadn't played like one. But again, in April, that could be different. That could be a different conversation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to follow his career. How many guys have come through Tennessee and we never really thought they were that great of a quarterback, or even transferred out, right? And then they end up in the NFL doing, on a roster. Look at Jared Garantano. Man, this fan base treated him so poorly. And I get it. He was a frustrating quarterback to watch, but he played for a frustrating coach too. But he ends up on an NFL roster. That's a talented guy.
We don't need to go in this too deep, but Garantano had 4 different OCs. He had 4 different quarterback coaches. The dude was broken, just broken as a redshirt freshman. he had a lot of things. He was a warrior. He just continued to play. And that year, whenever, when the Pruitt years, whenever it's like, bench Garantano, they literally didn't have anybody else to play that they had any confidence in, so he just kept going on out there. It was bad, but you heard Jim Chaney, you heard so many different guys continue to say, coaches say, Duke could be a 3,000-yard passer in college football. He's got that skill, and there's a reason why he's kind of just clinging around, hanging out as well. So Jerry Garantano with this coaching and this offense would have been something to watch. I'm not saying he would have been great. I'm just saying I would have liked to see it.
Yeah, I'm here for this because I was the ultimate JG defender. And people hated me because I would bury Harrison Bailey and say he wasn't any good. Look, Jared Garantano, he did get dealt rough-handed cards. But I told you this, I think, before previously. We put up a poll the other night on one of our shows and said, if you could pick Jared Garantano or Joe Milton, who are you starting? And it was 50-50. 50-50. But would Jarrett Garantano have won a Heisman under Heupel? I don't know, but I think he would have been a whole lot better player and a whole lot more respected by this fan base than
Austin Price said something. I'm sure you saw it. It was in the Monday Night Chat a couple weeks ago. I think it might have been coming off the Texas A&M game where things looked horrible, right? 100 yards through the air is really, really bad. Talk about the complete 180 the last 2 weeks. But he said something like, JG might have been better in this offense or something. And then people were getting at him, and he was like, well, hey, look, Jerry Garantano threw for over 300 yards several times. Jerry Garantano is one of, off the top of my head, I think 4 quarterbacks in Tennessee history to throw for over 400 yards in a game. Happened at Missouri back in 20 whatever. Jerry Garantano accomplished more and still accomplished way more than Joe Milton ever has at Tennessee. But again, you just look at the intangibles and it's just so effortless for Joe Milton. That is a very interesting conversation. Maybe one in the offseason we could really dive into it and kind of look and nitpick because both those guys will be gone by that point in time. At the end of the day, Joe Milton right now for Tennessee's looking confident. He's running confident. He's accurate with the football. One more thing, Dante Thornton, man. Somebody was kind of nitpicking on VolQuest the other day about, well, he had 1 reception of 49 yards on a busted play. You take that away as 2 receptions for, whatever yards. He's not arrived, don't get me wrong, but he did more in that football game than he has all year long. He looked comfortable. He blocked well. He ran good routes. Is it as simple as moving him out of the slot where in this offense it's more complex? Obviously, you're taking more shots because he had a drop problem this year. He looked really comfortable on the outside. If he can get going, man, that is much needed for Tennessee.
Yeah, especially even as you look ahead to next year, right? He's a guy that when he transferred here, we all thought, Dante Thornton's going to be one and done. Struggled, had so many drops, and now everybody's saying, oh, well, Boogie, you're an idiot. You told us all offseason how great this guy was going to be. Thought he was. I thought his size, length, speed, all that was going to play.
Well, you listened to me and I said it, so yeah.
I do. That's exactly where I got it, 100%. But, for real, though, you look at his measurables, you would think he's going to thrive in this offense. And then, simply sliding him to the outside. Is he just more comfortable? Does he understand that position more? Because that's what he played on the outside more at Oregon, right? So,
yep.
I think just a comfort level there. And I said it all year long. His story is not done. He's not going to live on those few games in this Tennessee offense. Let's give him an offseason to learn this thing and figure things out. Look at Jalen Hyatt's development. See what Dante Thornton can do next year. But it is a bright spot to see him go out there and do what he did this past week. That's for sure. That throw, and I know we talked about it on my show too, the throw to Dante Thornton. That's what encourages me about Joe. That throw, the throw to Squirrel, the touchdown to Nimrod. That's what gets me excited about Joe. Again, run him, get him hit, and then all of a sudden he's making some good throws. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he makes every read correctly, but he's playing dang good football right now.
He would never go another game here at Tennessee by having only 3 incompletions, in my opinion.
No.
But still, he's playing good football for sure. Final score prediction, Tennessee, UConn. What do you got this weekend?
It's domination, man. It's homecoming. Going to honor Pat Summitt. I love that. I'm here for it. I like the blue accents. I would not be against a full-on blue uniform. I think they look great. People are going to talk about it. People would hate on it if you did that. A lot of people would hate on it. But guess what? When people hate on it, they're going to say, well, why are you doing that? Well, raising awareness for Alzheimer's. Boom, that's the whole point of doing it. Do something to trigger people, and then you get that awareness out there. But I think it's going to be domination, a whole lot of running the football. Hopefully we get to see some of those young guns, particularly number 8. Hope we get to see him go out there and actually play the game. But I think Tennessee dominates 52-10. We're going to be celebrating early and hopefully beating the traffic, getting out of there.
I like it, man. All right, this is Thursday morning. You already mentioned that you're not doing a pre- or post-game show, going to the game, playing dad. I think that's awesome. But what do you got coming up later today, Friday, next week on Talking Vols?
Friday morning, we'll do our morning show, 9:30 a.m. Myself, Coach Jay, going to break down this game, probably look ahead a little bit more at the rest of the schedule in the future. And then also Saturday, I will still have a video come out that morning kind of breaking down the keys to the game. Sunday, we're going to do our fan call-in show. I'll do a video that morning as well, the day after video. Everything is going to be business as usual other than the tailgate show and also the post-game show. Also, come find me. I'll be down seeing one Boo Carter on Friday night, going to see the Bradley Central playoff game, so that's going to be a good time too.
Brother, have fun, man. Enjoy it. Happy for you getting that chance to spend time with your daughter in such a great theater there. So have fun, and we'll do it again next week, all right?
Awesome, man. We'll catch up on Monday.
All right, that is Boogie Bentley, the host of Talkin' Vols. Get them to 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. Heck, he's probably already there. He was calling for it, I think, last week. He might already be there, but they've done a lot of work for me and this channel here on Locked On Vols. If you're listening, if you're watching, haven't subscribed to the Talkin' Vols network on YouTube, please go ahead and do that. We'll come back Friday's Locked On Vols. We'll take a look at Tennessee UConn. I'll tell you everything you need to know about UConn. I'll give you my bowl predictions, my score predictions, all that to end the week right here on Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys for being here, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.